All right, as we come, oh, Jim's not here. It's 3 minutes or longer. 3 minutes. It's lawyer minutes. Much shorter. No? All right, now that we have everybody back, we'll be back in session. Moving on to new business. The next item up for our agenda is a budget update from Ms. Amy Roberts. And if you could remember to pull your microphone down.
So I've given out tonight the first version of the budget. It is far from over. We don't have our insurance numbers. We don't have our property tax numbers. I want you to know that in this budget includes longevity only. No other pay raises for employees other than the 35 cents per hour longevity. There's a capital outlay work paper that is in there that lays out all of the department requests, and then what ended up staying in the budget as far as capital outlay items. Tomorrow I will put in all of the department's requests into the Dropbox so that you can review those in comparison with the budget document, so you can see what they asked for and what they got in the budget. Department heads will be here next Thursday night to talk about their budget and any questions you might have. Those same documents, all of the requests, the documents that you received tonight, those will also all go out with the meeting documents on Monday. So I just wanted to give you an update. If anybody has any questions, if they'd like to come in and meet with me this week, feel free to talk with the department heads. They are all ready. If you have questions for them, feel free to reach out to them, and we'll try to make this easy. Yes.
I got a comment. This is just for everybody on the city council. I used to run across this aisle, this laugh plan because here people hate it. I love it. I'm a numbers guy. 58 days into this new administration, putting a budget together for some objectives for 2025, 2026. How are we planning for this upcoming fiscal year? Where the hell are we? We're good at spending money. We need to start documenting how we're going to have a review for the budget next week with the department heads. What are our goals and objectives? What are we trying to accomplish? We're good at spending money, guys. Come on. Keep the council, we ran the council, do things different. We're not doing it anymore. It's frustrating. I hope we have some answers. I really do. And going through what's the vision of the city? Where are we going? We need all that.
So I have worked in budget and contract management for the government for over 15 years in various roles. I understand what you're saying, but I have never seen in a government agency goals and objectives in that way set. The question that I brought up was whose are the goals and objectives that we are enforcing? And once we write those and put those pen to paper, then that becomes the standard and that's what we're enforcing. But are those department head goals? Are those the goals of the council? Are those my goals? Whose goals are we trying to reach? Each department head is responsible for setting what they want to achieve in the next fiscal year. That's why they submit their budgets and they have that information available to them. During the budget process that I have been personally part of over all of that time, I have followed a very similar process to this. I have submitted all of my documentation to those individuals that are making the budgetary process decisions. They have reviewed everything that I have submitted to them. Then, when it comes to my portion of it, they ask if I have any additions or corrections to make to the supporting documentation and requests I have made. If I do, I update them. If I don't, I tell them, no, my budget request stands as submitted. That's when they can ask me questions. And if no questions are asked, they then move on to the uh, next agency that's getting recorded. I understand that you're wanting to see goals set. What goals are you wanting set outside of what the department heads um, are making the priority for each of their departments? We as city council, I I'm not setting Mr. Metz's goals and objectives because I don't have the full control and command over what he does within his department. As other departments, they know what they've wanted and that's why they've submitted in their budget. When we sit down and we look through the budget and we look through all the documents, every member of this council has seen and has everything that was submitted to my office that I sat down with Miss Roberts and each of the department heads to go over. There is absolutely nothing that I have been given that has not been or will be shared with each of you. Uh, that's that's the way it operates. There's a difference in operation in a municipal government than private business sector. Uh, I believe, and this is from my vantage, that I trust the department heads to set forth what their objectives are. We as council sit and look at those and make objectives and decisions on what we can afford to fund, then move forward. Um, that's my basic opinion and outtake on it, Mr. Ditson.
I agree with what you're saying, Mayor. I served 8 years on the finance committee for the city of Charleston. And the city is responsible to provide police services, to clean roads, and to do the things that the city does, fire services, and that sort of thing. There's only a limited amount of the budget that can do other things. Have recreation, but everything that we spent last year was to provide services for those people. And now there are people who come in and say, well, you should do this or you should do that. Um, that's all well and good. And if they tell us what we're going to subtract, we're going to cut off less police officers, or we're going to have less people in finance or whatever. If they're going to say what we're going to subtract to do all these things that they say we're so stupid for not doing, and that would be helpful. However, you have to look at it, as you said, it's not a private business where we say, oh, okay, this year we're going to do this instead of providing police officers, we're going to uh, fund a swimming team. You know, we have to work with what we have. And I was kind of humored when I was on city council down there in Charleston on the finance committee, and one of my friends were jogging up the boulevard. He said, Harry, the city needs to do this. I said, well, that's fine. I won't say his name. I said, now you're one of 51,000 people in this town, and there are 50,900 other people. Each of them has something we should do. The question is, what are we going to subtract from what we're already doing to add what you? And he said, well, I never thought of it that way. So it's a little different, Henry, than private. We have a duty to provide services for the city. But if people have goals and all that kind of thing, fine, come in and share that and tell us what we should subtract from what we're doing to accomplish it. And we have those discussions. But setting the budget, you have to fund the things that the city has.
I understand that. I'm not disagreeing with what the city's supposed to do. Our obligation is fire, police, streets, water, street. That's the basic fundamentals that the city brings. We spend money on other stuff too. And we have a 5-year plan. What are you doing to start moving the city towards achieving some type of plan? You can't be Stevie Wonder driving down I-77. It's got to be done a certain way. You got to have some law. I thought that was in there. You, I look at you as the CEO of the city. For your executive leadership, you have the vision. What is it? Sharing, consolidate with all of us. And then with what we have, where are we taking it towards? We're going to take it down the same place that's been that issue.
I get your frustration. I do. We've been working very strongly over the course of the last 7 weeks to move projects along that were started or that were talked about that we're beginning to see come to fruition. It is happening. It is coming together. Do we come into council and say and give an update on everything that's going on the city on a bi-weekly basis? Or do we start to see those things and we take action on what we're doing? I can assure you, Mr. Sasson, we are moving forward on projects. This ship is not out of control. This ship is not floundering at sea. We are working together to achieve these goals. I am confident in that, and I am confident in each one of our department heads to work towards achieving those goals. Having met with each of them and having worked with each of them, I can confidently say that every department head that we have is working to accomplish tasks that they've been given, accomplishing a task that need to be done, and are rooted in providing the absolute best services for our city. Uh, there are different pots of money that we spend on different things. As you know, utilities come from a different pot of money. So we can't take money from this fund and put into that fund. So we are meeting the objectives. We are working towards our goals, and we are working together to see that those things happen. If at any given time during council meeting or throughout the week, we can discuss any of those concerns that are there just to do the checks and balances to ensure that we are moving forward and we are moving in the right direction.
Thank you, Ms. Roberts, for the presentation. Um, just to make a quick comment, um, Henry, I really appreciate your passion, and I think it's great that we have people that are trying to push things forward. Also, want to say, there's personal goals that I have, that I would like to see brought to the city, and there's things that I'm working on kind of behind the scenes to make those goals come true. And I'm hopeful that somewhere down the road I'll be able to bring some ideas to council that would be for the betterment of the city to let council make a decision on whether they think it's a good idea or not. So I mean, as far as having goals that are good for the city, I think if you've got some things in mind specifically, and if you've got something, I guess, specifically in mind that you want to accomplish or want to see accomplished, then I'd love to hear like specific idea or goal, and then we can have a good conversation about how do we make that happen? How do we make it? And it's all about making it better for the city of Vienna. So again, I appreciate your passion for it. I think it's good. I think we have people trying to drive us in the the right direction, the better off we're going to be. So I do appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
And I agree. I appreciate your passion to let bring up an idea and we can all discuss it. And I appreciate that. I'm not trying to slow you down. You have to do things one at a time. And Mayor, I think you're doing a great job coming in here and find out everything from everybody that's been doing this work all these years. And I think they were all scared somebody's going to come in here and inspire everybody like the mayor and the new mayor in Charleston did that. She come to the department heads. They had a hard time for 3 or 4 years until everybody learned how to make things happen. So everybody here is on the same team. I just appreciate that you're all volunteers. Nobody up here, including the mayor, is making a bunch of money that they would have made a lot more if they were sitting someplace else. So I appreciate it.
Any other discussion?
I
Any
just
other?
like to make a comment. Um, I liked it better too when the department heads were presenting budgets because sometimes you'll see a budget line item that's $10,000 more than it was last year than we expected it. And presenting the budget, there was a change for some reason. They explained that, and it would seem more fair to me, and it was I could understand it.
You have every opportunity next week to say, could you take me through your budget? Right? Chief Earl Cow, take me through your budget. Can you explain to me, what your changes are? You guys have every right to ask any of those questions that you want to, and we will be here to answer them.
Thank you. I have one question that's totally off the topic since you're here. We talked at the last budget and finance committee meeting of the CDBG money.
Yes.
Was it needing to make up a presentation? What was the date of that?
Was that March? He's going to announce it there.
Yes, I have it. It'll be Wednesday, March 5th at 4 p.m. here in the council chamber.
That's a public hearing regarding the CDBG upcoming budget year.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion? Moving on to the presentation by Wood County Development Authority. Before she begins, she was originally on the schedule to speak with the groups as a whole last week, but our situation with Lindsay in Wood County Development Authority is different, where we are contracted with her agency rather than just supporting her agency financially. So I felt that it was imperative that she be given uh, this special opportunity to discuss and be able to bring us up to date on what they have done, where we're going, and to answer any questions from council that we have. So with that, Ms. Pearson.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to start with dollars in. So the Wood County Development Authority applied for and was awarded a $700,000 industrial access road grant to pay for the new road construction that will connect 12th Street between Lowe's and Sam's Club to the new WBUP Innovation and Technology Center and other residential and commercial developments. As part of working with the WBUP Foundation on the development of the former OBU property in Vienna, Wood County Development Authority applied for and was awarded $1,250,000 in grant funding to replace 468 windows and 32 doors at the former campus of OBU. So, out of $75,000, that's a $2,500 return on your investment. We applied for and had it moved to the Appropriations Committee for $1 million in congressional earmarks for the redevelopment of the industrial portion of the former Johns Manville site. If you follow the news closely, federal government has not passed a budget from October 1, and we are under a continuing resolution until March 14th. With that being said, congressional earmarks have not been included in any of the CRs to date, and if I were a betting woman, I do not think that it will be included in the budget, the hatchet that's being taken to it right now. So I would like to be proven wrong, but that still is outstanding. In regard to the WVUP-ITC, the Wood County Development Authority worked with Pickering Associates, the WVUP Foundation, and the City of Vienna to annex 118 acres from Wood County into the City of Vienna. So that was a fun meeting for us and at the County Commission. The Development Authority paid for engineering renderings for the layout of 75 housing lots on the excess land the WVUP Foundation owns surrounding the ITC campus to allow for future development. The Development Authority has been communicating with and keeping a list of interested housing developers for said property. There's currently a list of 5 housing developers, with 4 being local or having local ties to the community, so we're excited about that. The Development Authority has been working with Craig and the Vienna Utility Board for water and sewer numbers, which were provided yesterday. And so the next step is to pursue grant funding for the extension of water and sewer to serve the new housing development and a commercial development that is planned to take place at the top of the new entrance to the ITC. The Development Authority, there's a theme that I work well with WVUP, we can't tell from this update. We continue to work with WVUP on the business side of growth to the ITC, so these are new businesses that will be coming to Vienna. There will be an additive manufacturer that will locate in the former gymnasium and pool space of the campus. We're working on the business incubator addition to ITC. So if you remember the original plans, there will be space for 25 businesses to rent space, and the hope for that is that they will work with students and or hire WVUP students to work there. Dr. Jackson and I have had calls with 2 industries in Silicon Valley that have an interest in doing business here, also have ties to the area. So did not know there were that many entrepreneurs that have that. The Development Authority has 2 committed tenants to a commercial unit that will be built on the ITC campus in the future, neither of which are currently in Vienna city limits. Other items, the Development Authority currently has 14 active Vienna properties in the countywide property database, and I appreciated Ms. Ethel's comments. We plan to work more closely with Jack Mathers this year to get some of those in the database and figure out a plan to move forward in getting those back up and usable. Just as a reminder, the Wood County Property Database is a tool that is free for any person who has commercial or industrial property or land. They can submit it to our office. It can be as small as a 1-room office to a 1,000,000-square-foot building, and we will upload that free of charge. So we do it for realtors free of charge. We do it for private individuals free of charge. And then what we can do is, if you have an interest in seeing how many people looked at your particular property, we can pull the analytics from the back end of that database. The Development Authority assisted Hall's Chocolate in Vienna this year with securing financing for a new line and truffle machine, replacing one that they've had for 25 years. It still works, but this will allow them to have a continuous process. And we got to watch chocolate Easter bunnies be made, so that was great. The Development Authority has continued to work with the Grand Central Mall on providing demographic and statistical information to interested tenants to fill vacant spaces. So what we do for Jody, when he has a tenant coming in, our office makes the packet that he hands out to those tenants about Vienna and the greater Wood County area. So we cater that to whomever he is talking to at the time, and he picks those up from us, and that's what he uses. The Development Authority conducted its first Vienna business stakeholder meeting this past Monday. We had 12 individuals representing various business sectors. That group is just discussing various needs and opportunities, and then we will come and report back to council when their survey results come back. In regard to business retention visits, we have done them with Hall's Chocolate, the PM Company, and multiple entities at Grand Central Mall, including Washington. So I I just covered a lot of things in a short period of time, and I'm happy to take any questions that you might have.
I just want to thank you for all you're doing to bring business and to coordinate what we have here, bring everybody together and make it a better place. You guys are
Thank you. I appreciate that.
See, I second that. What you do is amazing. I think we're very fortunate.
Thank you.
I will say that, they're the short term in office. I have probably engaged Lindsay in her office probably 1,000% more than she may have been expecting. And we either text, email, or call each other, not daily, but at least every other day with a lot of various things. Um, I have ensured that we have started to move forward. Stakeholders group that she meets with and where she met with and went through things with, that was something that should have happened previously and just didn't. Um, she was able to get that done, and she's also working on several projects that I have talked with her about moving forward in relation to the John Manville property, to some various projects that we're wanting to work within the city, and also because we have a large interest in seeing the WVUP property come to fruition. That is going to be a life-changing development within our community, and I'm very excited to see what all that comes through, along with the new school that will be elementary school that will be located there. So, thank you for that and everything that you have done and continue to do, and we're going to stay engaged with that. Does anyone else have any comments or questions?
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. Like Mayor was talking about, the properties that we have down on the river. I know we don't necessarily have a plan in place, but I'm sure you guys have probably done a little bit of research about riverfront. Have you been able to seek out or find any grants that may, help us in that development, move down the road a little bit with what we've kind of got in the works? You kind of know you were at the meeting, so you kind of have an idea of what it is. Have you been able to find anything to help for those items that are coming in?
So I think the opportunity is there when the plan is finalized to turn it in. It's a little bit difficult before there was a final conceptual rendering. How federal grants work, and if you've never worked with them, are they tedious? But if you change one little thing, you pretty much have to start over with your action plan and go through it. So for us, once we have that final concept from Thrasher, I think the opportunity will be there to definitely do that. Um, I think there's a bunch of avenues that can be taken in regard to things that have to do with children. There's certain pots of money for that. There's certain pots of money for arts and culture, which I certainly think not say amphitheater, the multi-use facility.
She said that out loud. We are cutting the Wood County Development Authority's contract for 25, 26. That just needs
Multi-use is
multi-use.
thing anyway. But I do think there would be funding for that. So to answer your question, not yet, but we're locked and ready to do that when we get the final concept.
And a lot of that will be based upon what Thrasher brings us back from the presentation.
And to piggyback on that a little bit, why that's so important is Thrasher should be giving numbers on what it would cost to do the conceptual drawing of what's going to be at the river. And so what we will have to do is turn in those numbers to ask for and basically validate what we are requesting from the federal government.
I also have one more question for you. And I know we've talked about this in the past, but just kind of as a refresher, specifically the 1 million that's been earmarked if we get it March 14th or later. Can you just real briefly kind of explain what precisely that would be used for?
Yes. So if you are standing on River Road facing the Johns Manville property and you see the section, I always say it L's off, Jim has a better terminology for it, but the part that has all of the rebar and concrete that you basically fall off a ledge if you fell into, that money would, one, take up the remaining chunks and the rebar that's in there, and it would level off that piece of property. So you would have a flat piece of property that would either be able to be developed, seeded, paved, whatever you would want to do with it. So that's what that money was applied for and requested to do.
Thank you.
You remember when we walked down there, there's like the apocalyptic looking sign of that, that I said, I'm not walking any farther that direction. That's the area in which she's referring to. I'm never going to get rid of that word.
And I will say, if you visit the original contract that we had with the city of Vienna, there are things on it that we did not get to this year that I would like to get to. One of those things was helping the city gear their website more towards businesses coming in. That was something that we want to do that we have not done yet. Another thing that I've offered to work with Jack on as special projects coordinator. I keep saying he's a jack of all trades because he covers so much. But we've also agreed to help him if city council wishes to go down this route to apply for an on-track community through the West Virginia Development Office. So on-track is the first step to later applying to be a Main Street community. So when you're looking at what's the little downtown version of Vienna, you can get an on-track designation, and the state does not give you actual dollars, but you can get technical assistance grants. So I've had a conversation with Jack about the fact that the West Virginia Development Office contracts out. It used to be with Mike Giolis, for those of you who are familiar with him. He actually just stopped doing it, and they have a new firm. But you get so many times per year that they will come up and they can look at buildings that you would have in your downtown, and they can give you architectural drawings. They can budget out what it would cost to renovate those spaces. They can bring in consultants and have a visioning session like they did for any of you that might have went to the G.C. Murphy one in downtown Parkersburg. That was paid for with Main Street technical assistance money.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to the next item of business. Items 3 through 6 are all dealing with reappointments to the Board of Zoning Appeals. All of these are reappointments actually. All of these individuals have been serving on the Board of Zoning Appeals and have agreed to do so again. I had no new names or anything submitted or requested for this. Instead of reading through all 4 of these, can we address these all in one hit?
Just do a motion to approve resolutions 3 through 6 and name each of the individuals as one. Move it second and discuss.
Second. Been moved in second to address items 3 through 6 in one action. All in favor, raise your hand. Passes unanimously. I can't see Mr. Beach. There he is. Sorry, sir. All right. So, Mr. Skogstad, if you will read one and apply all 4 names to that.
These are 4 resolutions approving the reappointment of Bobby Lancaster, Gail Gaines, Nick Bibby, Ron Hendricks to the Board of Zoning Appeals. Be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Vienna as permitted in Code Article 1313.01, Bobby Lancaster, Gail Gaines, Nick Bibby, and Ron Hendricks, all being qualified citizens of the City of Vienna, are hereby reappointed to serve as members of the Board of Zoning Appeals. Their new terms will each expire individually January 1st, 2028.
Do I have a motion to accept? I have a second. Any other discussion? Mr. Ditzler. Is there any other discussion? No other discussion. please signify by raising your right hand. All in favor? Yes. Motion passed. All four passed unanimously. Thank you for that. All right, now moving on to the discussion item number 7. Uh, this is in regards to the 12th Street kayak launch. Before Mr. Metz comes and speaks and they share with this, I want to commend uh, both Craig and Jack for the work that they have done on this to bring it to this point. They have put a lot of time, energy, and effort into it, and I hope you are as excited about this as what I am to see this all come together.
5 years, 5 year projects. My goal, 10 years is a goal. So it's been 5 years since we started this. We've changed locations and turned the location to 12th Street. Since growing through the years, made some changes. New drawings, right? So made them look presentable. So the joke. So Mike is
That was not directed towards anybody.
I took it as a good thing. So we decided on 12th Street. A couple of great things at 12th Street is the river access there is a calm water. Jack Mathers has worked with several agencies making that kayak launch and destination. It's going to be, he's right now he's currently working with the state DNR office and wanting to make that a no-wake zone, which is beneficial for the kayaks. Plus, our soil conservation department out of Weavestown, island tours, people taking on the kayak, taking on the island, do some tree identifications, and look at some birds and quality animals and snakes or whatever you want to look at. So I'll let Mike take it over from here and about the design of the kayak launch. This is the final design, hopefully. So we'll bring it back to you next council. Yes, he has to do and continue on. So one good thing at the end of this is this design is so that is anyway. Thanks for just since we've done this before, and we'll go quickly through some of the information previously. Right, Water Trail, 9 miles. Access to 6 nearby islands. For anybody that doesn't know what a kayak launch is, make sure you're in the shows. You look out onto a dock, you're able to let your kayak in, be able to slide in and out, use the rails to the side, and we look at with NDA compliance. I think there's a picture later on kind of showing there's a little bit of difference. So to be able to maintain the compliance, and see how that is with the rails, so wheelchair, there's a transfer rope, and be able to use their arms to be able to get kayak in water. For those who have not seen the existing 12th Street signs, pine shutters is where we're looking at, and much from there. What we're looking at doing is installing an access dam, which will allow Greg and his crews to be able to access the ramp, the gateway over, and the launch, with the thought being that if there's ever a time when
idea of what that would look like. Other people looking. We also gave stairs and gave signals to the top. Just kind of a little bit less of a layout looking above and look at the various trucks getting down and coming down. So it should look as shown. You can kind of see too what the bigger concerns we have the river. It's the flood elevation. So as you look at the big going out to the you're always going to have a level land. So make sure that that's Greg was saying right now you're looking at is total cost right now is looking at $340,000 from the plan grants to total project. It's get $280,000 of grants and 80/20 to that cost and then $66,000. Look at the schedule and Greg's already faster than this. And we're looking at trying to get it done this year.
Yes, you are going to go faster.
And the mayor has also told me that we are going to go faster. So we're going to shoot to try to get it in the summer. So I guess we'll that is allows dogs is actually a plan and show Jack on top video camera down there. He said I asked it and it was he had it high in the sky. Where's the camera at the location was cellular camera base. Watch the ramp on and what's the
As far as our insurance,
yes.
it would be the same with any of our public work systems.
That's correct. Okay, same liability you have getting access insurance. Same as
Was, I think the original proposal was 682,000 or something. I am not the original design. What changed to bring this down to such a
it's what it takes for design area facility location it's basis was that able to get in that's what your time figure out programs
concern about the original drawings? That parking right at the riverbank for carts and trailers. Is that going to be moved back closer to the railroad tracks so that the parking is cleaner?
location right past this gate used to be right so there's yeah, it's on a lot adjacent to the drive and drop off back walk location. So it moves back
planning on putting a kayak launch and some landing is that still going to happen? Have a kayak launch there in 12th Street?
And so they can move to kayak and to planning move down and do kayak out. So
So the other topic was the pressure group was about today launch at 12th Street. Is that still a thought?
that is feeding the plants exactly the time.
Would that be located where conference launches?
Location, first location is it's water people there. That's where we so
Water, is it going to be out not so far that it requires a muscle extend? Because I know it's going to be out so far.
we know structure there yet. So it's just infrastructure back. Could you flip back to the current picture, please? The current picture of the what it looks like right now. And I know in your rendering you're showing the green grass. Is that entire bank going to be sloped? And are we going to be clearing some of those trees that are there now and continuing that slope down for a ways, or how far does that slope extend? Are we looking at that 18, roughly 18 degree slope, kind of what we talked about in the fall of last year? Is that the kind of the objective? I know we're still early in the time. Is that yeah, yeah. I mean, not the ramp, but the grass area, I suppose. Yeah. Is it?
What is the percentage of slope? What is the percentage slope? Because I think it has to be 8.33%.
There's also, you may not have seen them in that drawing, there's curbing side of that that will keep, somebody from, losing control. So it'll be, I believe it'll be wonderful.
Yeah. So if we get the renderings done next council meeting, you guys are able to bring this back. We get an agenda. We can vote for this. We can get started.
This is what it'll look like. It doesn't show Mr. Britt's ramp in this rendering, but it will stay there because we're on city property on this side. But this is what the little project will look like.
I guess the main thing I was asking is we're going to be voting on this next week or next
2 weeks.
That's all.
This may be a dumb question. We used to be able to do out, do something, people be allowed to clear them. We don't have any control over this meeting.
bad from the outside. You can get in the interior the B section. It opens up. Some eagles, rabbits. I've seen bear too there. I have seen some bear there. So recommendations. Yeah, it's a really nice island.
We already have a match in the budget.
Yes, we have 75, up to 75 in the budget for this. When, one of the first things that I did when we took over with the new administration was go to Craig and also to Jack. And, I said, this is how much money we have. And the requirements that we have are to stay within this amount of money and to ensure that it is fully 100% ADA compliant and meets not only the needs of our residents, but the needs of the grant itself. And we are able to bring this and complete this task. I commend, everybody, Craig and Jack, that have worked on this. As you said, this is going to become a destination point for individuals to come. Where else along the river can you put a kayak in 100 feet beyond an island? This is also going to contain, and I'm correct in saying we're going to do courtesy docks with that as well, right?
Yeah, in the future.
Right.
My submission.
So that it's going to be expandable the way that it's designed. So there's a lot of great potential that's going to be there.
I want to commend you. You you knew how much money we could do. You decided it was going to be done and happen this summer. You got it done. Got it designed within the budget. And have to wait for everybody to come in and say, this is good, this is bad, you got it done. Sometimes things just drag out. And you guys got it.
Can you chase the bear away for any listener?
I tell you, it's gonna be great. I do enjoy fishing, and I'm here you use now.
So I think we can get you a barrel. I was just skiing at Snowshoe last week. There was a guy there.
I think we should go for a Bigfoot sighting.
Talk about life. Do we have any other?
Put him on the book.
That'll take a budget amendment. Do we have any other questions or comments regarding this?
I just want to thanks again. Just seeing what it is now and then the rendering that we have, man, what a difference. We talk about the things that we can do for our city that's going to bring out the natural beauty or make it a destination for people to come. This really hits a nail right on the head. So appreciate it. I'm excited. I think everybody here is excited. So yeah, good work.
Say thank you to this is great.
No pun intended. I will say I talked with the gentleman in Charleston who is responsible for this, or getting us our money when we do this project. He was very excited that we have made headway on this, that we are going to see this completed and get it taken care of. So everything's still good on that end of it. We bring this in together by the end of the summer. By midsummer, yeah, we're going to start to see. We're going to see work done. We're going to see this completed and make good what our community has been promised.
One more question.
the way that it's done in a reimbursement to us. So we actually have to have something approved. Then they say, okay, you can start. The money is there. They don't just cut us a check and write it. We have to show an approved plan. Then we can start construction. That we can start to submit to them for payment. So it's not like they just write us a check and send it out. And if we come and we're going to come under budget, if all goes well and this is the way that it goes, we don't get that extra money. But we're able to get this project done. And look, I would rather meet the requirements and not spend all of the budget and get it done, as opposed to overshooting our budget and not getting anything accomplished. So I'm very grateful that they were able to whittle this back into a fashion that we could afford. Does that answer your question?
It did. I was just, I mean, I remember him saying the council was coming in September, doesn't it? So I just,
It's in, it wasn't, I said, dropped and dropped and now they're ready to reimburse us. Makes sense.
Anything else? Week after next.
You'll have a council meeting next week. Yes.
We do?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, we've had a council meeting I think every week for a month. All right, so
Probably be March 13th.
that's it. So next week,
That's a special council meeting where the department heads will be available.
Okay.
So you might just make that specifically for that department heads. Then this will be the
You can put things on special council meetings.
I would love to put this on the agenda for next week so we can move forward. He's actually designing it right now as we speak, but I would love to see this. I know it's just a week, but look, a week makes a difference.
Mike, just for records, what was your last name?
All right. That completes our agenda for this evening. Taking us our scheduled agenda now, it comes to council comments. Does anyone have any further council comments?
for quite a while now, the recycling contract that the city has, they have been not picking up two plastics instead of some of the ones. And yet we're paying, I assume, the same price to them to not take as much recycling. And I think that's a big issue. You know, I mean, everyone's paying for that water bill. And what is the status of that? To do anything? Because I don't think citizens should be paying full price for them not providing service.
Do you have anything that you want to answer? So that is mandated. We don't have a choice on billing and setting the price for the individuals. That is mandated by the state. Am I correct?
We're passed through. We're mandated by the state to have recycling. And what that recycling program looks like, that's what we've tried to do is this type of recycling program is of course trash with regular services, services. But we're limited on how much the city administrative costs, essentially as far as being compliant and compliance or otherwise compliant. That is something that we're not performing service with contracts and services. See why and address that. And contract is sets is renews every year. Is certainly something that we consider or something to consider forward whether or not having a community. But if they're not in compliance with the contract,
Well, and the other thing is, I mean, a lot of this really dedicated they're doing it, you have to separate out plastic, plastic they don't. And so I had two things in there that were number one plastics and they didn't take. And I think that's really important. I think we need to be good stewards of our land. And so, yeah, I would appreciate an answer to that.
We can we can look on it. And we're also addressing our contract for that and our trash pickup as a whole because they mirror together. We're in the process of actually reworking those contracts right now.
The other thing I wanted to ask Friends of Vienna presented at the last meeting, and they were asking for 50,000, which is what they had asked for the year before. But the year before they did 2 weekends, and this year they're just going to do 1 weekend. But the price that they're asking, the money they're asking for is the same amount as what they did 2 weekends. So I didn't know if there's any way for Friends of Vienna to give us any information on, how their budget is, how it works, what they think, how things are done. I'd like to see something that's awesome.
I can only speak just for things. Um, Last year we had 2 different weekends. One was due to the rodeo at Spencer's Land, and had 2 days of rodeo because when you rent the bleachers, you can. It doesn't matter how many times you use the bleachers, the cost is the same. So we thought if we have the rodeo for 2 days, and the rodeo guy was willing to do that, he brought in more the ladies that does the barrel racing, and then they do slack riders, which ladies who don't typically that aren't meet as far as point wise, so they go and run, get time in, so they can get points, so they can continue. And since the mall did not allow us to have rodeo down there, so it's Spencer's Land, so those 2 weekends on there. This time we are moving rodeo, we're moving Friends of the Grand Festivals moving up to Spencer's Land, so it takes away from the mall, so we have to do 2 weekends, and it gives Greg and his team rest because they only 2 weekends rodeo, backed off of rodeo, back to the original way we did rodeo. So it's in the afternoon this time. Last time was in the evenings. And they'll still have slack riders, they'll still have road and barrel racers and bull riders. They'll still have all of them. And it will be 2 days a week for 1 day. Our budget is more this year than it was last year, just because of cost price increases. Budget's over 200,000. That's a little bit higher than what the budget was last year. Even though we had it spared over 4 days to 2 days. So that was plus the 65,000, which we actually got from the city. 50,000 originally, then 15,000 additional. That came about because we were concerned that we were meeting our budget, and there towards the end, money started to run out. So in April, May, we started getting real concerned about money doesn't come in. We think we're getting, and we're thinking, okay, we need to cut back on certain events, certain things like that. As I understand, this is part of the council discussion, and I'll let you go. I think this is something that we discuss. That's what it was. But you may just want to check this is clear item to be council meetings. But the 15,000 that we got in the locally with one of our sponsors right now, some reasons that it's very fair. And so that's why it stays the same. 65 last year, 65 this year. So it's actually increased. Hopefully that helps.
If we need further, deeper discussion, do it as an agenda item.
I only have one thing. I would like to recognize Chris Pink
Yeah, I recognize him too.
I wanted to say what a pleasure it has been having working with you. Mr. Mancuso, um, he's leaving the area, so he was my
Look, I did not see that request come across my desk.
no.
Can you tell
Thank
us
you
where
for
you're
everything
going?
you're doing.
Oh, you can tell he was a politician. Well, you will be missed with you and your wife. And just to echo that, you did make great contributions to our community. Um, I was hopeful that you would continue to make contributions to our community, but I understand how life takes changes, so you will be missed, but you are to be commended on what you've done so far. Thank you. Yes, Elvis. No.
Senior Center.
Oh, shame on you. Well, I guess that was under announcements. Tomorrow evening at from 5 to 6:30, there is a meet and greet for city council members to be available to meet those at the senior center. This is not a meeting. There will be no business conducted. There will be no business discussed, uh, and no decisions will be made. This is simply a social event for individuals to individually meet council members. Yep. Any other council comments or announcements?
One other announcement again, it's this CDBG public hearing will be on Wednesday, March 5th, 4 p.m. here.
Go ahead.
Just real quick, I just wanted to say thanks to Ms. Harris for her comments. I agree. There's and maybe there is an ordinance. I'll have to check after the meeting. But I think one of the things with the properties on Grand Central, once we become, and somebody's going to correct me if I'm wrong, but once we get to the point where we're a street city, there will be. It's kind of like I think of like the historic district. There are ordinances that those houses must follow whenever they go to fix something on the outside. It has to be antique or has to be period correct. I think we can implement those ordinances at that time for our Grand Central Avenue property. So that was the first thing, and then also for the health department, um, we had requested some information, and I did see that come through. I haven't had a chance to review it, but they were providing us some information, some feedback. I know you couldn't hear the sound last time, but they it sent us some information to kind of go over to see how many Vienna citizens were actually utilizing the services there. So, but appreciate coming out and talking. Thank you.
Gentleman's comment about the ordinances. We have ordinances, we have ordinances, and we really need to do something about that.
Tony, that planning commission is going to be with us to see some different things. And one of the things that you mentioned was dilapidated buildings, things like that. So we have planning commission meetings. And anyone that has anything to say or request, we have it. Yeah, please come. Please come because that's what we need, is information so we can follow up on it.
All right.
Sorry. With respect,
I was so close.
too bad. So close. I've been quiet all night. So, with respect to Old Vienna and these ordinances we're talking about, I called Jack today. Saw that in the laundromat building, there's two for red signs. And I suggested that we talk to the city about how to promote those storefront rentals. Right. And so, and I bought the Petrolite building because I didn't want to see it. I didn't. I am now evicting pigeons. Okay, they're all on the roof. I'm wondering where they're going to go. There's hawk in there. Anyway, so when we approach this kind of goes. I was against these lighting ordinances and some of the things. It's a character stick. It's like we need to encourage the development. We're going to renew Lindsay's contract. We're going to have development with Jack. Our opportunities here are to encourage this business development. And I don't know that mandating certain standards, certain what these buildings are. But the approach to me would be, all right, we've got from LPs to tanks. What's going on with that property? We need to interact with these business owners, these property owners, and say, what's going on? Do you have plans? Do you have an interest in selling the property? Do you need us to assist you in developing work? And as I mentioned, my intention, there was a conversation in the last term of council about buying the Vitrolite building and simply demolishing it. So I would say that we don't have, and Tony talked about there's a different Main Street, and I don't know how applicable Main Street, based on my understanding, we missed the last window to apply for the first step, whatever it's called, to get to Main Street. It's a two-step process. I don't know how applicable that is for what Vienna's needs are. I think, the historic designation, some of the tax credits that you can get to rehab these buildings might be a more focused approach to what we're trying to do. So I just caution that when we are talking about what we want to encourage for this area of Vienna, I have my own vision about it, which is personal to me. Not necessarily, well, and I guess it does extend to my role in city council, is that I believe the balance that we need, we've got, we talked about Grand Central, and we've got that retail presence, and we've got more of the chain restaurants toward that end. And not competing with that presence, but we have the nice beginnings of a professional strip in Vienna. We need to supplement that with amenities those people want. We've got everything from Mr. Diggity, Dega. They've now stepped up and brought in what's it called, water can, and they're working to promote that. So I just say when if we're really looking to make a difference, from call it whatever you want, really 20th Street to 32nd, 34th, I think we really need to look at ways to encourage the development of that property, and then those issues will take care of themselves because people will be in there. So I don't know that an ordinance is necessarily through the planning commission versus encouragement and saying getting involved with these property owners and saying what can we do to help? Because I think I just think that's part of the focus.
And, Jim, I believe that I had this discussion today. You have some creativity that I'm not sure exists in anyone else. You have an act for it. And would love to see you take a very active role with that, with the web development and getting some of that information out there. So, take that as my invitation to you. I gave it to you. You gave it to David? Yes, you did. You did. No. All right. Any other discussion? No. Going once, going twice, as always.